Hello, welcome by another Stupid Podcast. We're
14, I
at
think.
episode 14.
Yeah. Today we're going to go, I am actually going to ask Janina to answer some questions about sprinting.
I'm very curious
Yep.
what you're going to ask me.
So, from a beginner perspective, I've spotted things that blew my mind when you told me that. They make complete sense. But I think that people don't realize what they should work on first. And so I wanted to give them like 3-4 very important pointers toward running better. So me, I have two straight up in mind that I know if I were to teach someone to sprint. I can't teach someone to sprint, but what I would say, hey, as someone who's a white belt, let me tell you the first two things, blue belt. The first two things that you need to learn. Then I'm going to talk to you about that, and then you're going to explain fully that point. But first, what is the two things the biggest mistake you saw, and what you would tell someone? Like the hip thing that you always talk to me about, for example?
Well, for me, what would be very important is this person want to sprint? Does this person want to do a 400, 800 type of situation? It's like a mid-distance or long distance as in 5K or long distance as in 10K?
Let's take sprint first.
Let's take sprint first. The thing is that sprinting is a very flowy thing, so it's supposed to be relaxed, but let's go into the basics first over more position type of idea. I would say engagement of the low abs, because the rest of the chain, and with the chain I mean the body, will follow up better.
So what you've seen is people run arching, because
Well,
that's how I started.
People in general often overarch or are very round in the back. And what you want to do, if you overarch, you don't have enough reach in the front. So you can't lift your leg as high. And
okay, so
you don't
so let's talk about that, because honey, like you have to understand, you are not turning anybody into Usain Bolt. That is not what we're doing right now. You don't understand the moronic level of people like me starting. I get it, because you are gifted from the beginning. So what you're lacking is the capacity to talk retarded.
Okay, let's talk retarded.
Right. So, for example, very good point. If you arch too much, you can't lift your leg up. Right. So right away, this might be why a lot of you can't bring the knees up, is because you're arching too much. Okay. That alone, like imagine if you change that. So that means that you engage the low abs, the obliques correctly, just like on an oblique opener. Right away, your sprinting gets better. It's stuff like that is not talked about out there, because you either have a guy who's trying to teach you Usain Bolt way of running, and just cannot speak at a retarded level like we all are, especially me.
So let me speak at a retarded level, because I want to explain a little bit more about the low abs. You can lift your knees higher, but you can also engage the glutes and the hamstrings more, because you're not overarching, so you don't disconnect from the glutes and the hamstrings, which are a big part of sprinting. So right away, once you engage the low abs, you help with the hamstrings and the glutes. So for me, that's always the first thing.
You don't need to know why. Just tell them, the point of this is tell them what not to do. So don't overarch, you can lift your knees up. Right, on this, I want to give one up that blew my mind, what she made me do, when I finally understood it, is the point is not to bring your heel to your back, the point is to bring your heel straight up. Like we're going to make a video about this, but the point of sprinting is that you don't kick your butt with your heel. That's actually incorrect and makes you arch. You actually bring the foot straight up into your hammy. Into your ass, but more like the low part of the ass, more toward the hammy. The idea is to go straight up with the heel instead of kicking your own ass. When you do that, guess what? Your knees goes higher as well.
Because when you bring your heel up to your ass, to say it like that, you create space. And you create space within the movement. You can reach forward and you can make steps. And how I explain it, and I don't know if that hits or miss, but if you want to sprint, you want to go towards the future. So this is the future and this is the past. And once you bring your heel to your ass, guess what? The only movement you can make from there is backwards.
In the past.
So only in the past. So you will not get any speed from that.
This is great. When she made me do it the day I understood, I felt like I was bringing my foot up forward.
And the thing is,
it wasn't, by the way, it was toward the back because you're moving. But to me, it felt like I was bringing my foot up forward. So then suddenly my knees went in line and much higher, naturally.
Yeah, and what this overlaps is the efficiency of movement in running.
Anyway, yeah.
Because that's what you're trying to achieve with running is efficiency.
No, I know, but that's not where we are.
No, right but now. I know, but I mean...
I know, I agree with you completely. But that's right now what we're doing is we're giving them the tips that they can try, and then eventually we'll get to efficiency of movement. Like, that's not where we are right now.
No, what I tried to say with that is that what I always want out of people that I help learning how to run is to have an ease in it. Because at the end, it's about
6 months later, a year later, and I barely understand the concept.
Yeah, but
gifted people don't get it.
No, but you can, because I don't want to teach the tension too much, so that people get too stuck up in it.
No, I know, but
that's all.
Before we get that, there's a white belt level. You know what the problem is? You started as a purple belt, sprinting. And then you went on going like, there are some of us that are white belts, and trust me, we feel like it. And there's certain stuff that you show me, like I had when you said, I was like, what? You know what so the first point that I wanted to make was the heel up, that changed completely. The second thing that changed my running completely is when you told me to run and keep my foot at 90 degrees the entire time of running. I bet you most people are like, what?
Yeah.
Like when she sprints, her foot never goes like this. She never reaches forward with her foot in line. She keeps her foot at 90 degrees the entire time she runs. There's a tension there that never changes. So try that. Go running, keep your foot at 90 degrees. I felt I was going to eat shit.
By the way.
Sprinting.
When you go sprinting, because if you want to do long distance, it's different.
No, it's okay. We're going sprinting. If you keep your foot at 90 degrees, you feel you're going to eat shit because you feel you're going to fall forward, which kind of feels like it, but that's the point.
Yeah.
And suddenly you run faster. So the key is whenever you reach with your foot and you go toward the pointy foot, you actually slow yourself down because you dig into the ground and that stops you from going fast. So what they do instead of digging is they keep the foot at 90 degrees so that they only hit with this part of the foot and much, much, much faster at a higher cadence.
That goes back to that future and past thing. It's because once you start hitting with the ball of your foot, you can go this and you can be in the future constantly. So you have, it's exactly because if you land here, just like, let me say this is my foot, you land point here, your foot, you fall slightly forward and you grab backwards. So you're never going to be able to bring your foot towards your ass if you land like this.
That's how you felt like,
you're gone.
Yep.
You already lose the tension and you fall forward.
Exactly.
So that's also why I always start with the low abs. It's because you want to start with that one before you understand the rest.
And we're going to do that, but this was just a podcast to give 3 tips for people to play with so that they can feel it. And then we're going to do an entire module on sprinting, and then we'll post video every week and stuff like that, so then they can start working on it. But I want people to try 3 things. Don't overarch, like think low abs, think oblique opener, because you can't bring your knees high enough. Bring your foot to your hammy, not to your ass, and then keep your foot at 90 degrees. Go sprint doing those 3 things and see how much your knees and your whole position is going to change. Yeah. For me, it was drastic. Yeah. It was crazy.
It's also
I had no idea. No idea.
It's very, very different than the idea you have of running.
Oh,
especially if you come from a
jogging.
Sport of jogging would also mean like soccer or hockey or stuff like that.
Well, hockey. Oh yeah, like, she means field hockey, not ice hockey.
You mean like a
sounds like, honey, they don't run in hockey. Yeah. She's Dutch, so field hockey, obviously. Yeah. You know, the Americans are like, what's field hockey?
Yeah.
Lacrosse. Other problem.
Anyway.
There was some trash talking going on there, but yeah, there you go.
It's all elite people anyway, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think those 3 things will help you tremendously, at least to feel more light on your feet.
Oh, it's crazy. I love the future versus the past thing. Like when you start to go into that, I was surprised how much my knees went up. The second thing that surprised me so much when you taught me that is that the hammies cannot engage properly without the low abs as well. There's a connection that goes from the low ab oblique into the hammy that I never fully understood until I learned sprinting correctly. Then by bringing my foot not back but straight up, suddenly my low abs got lit up in a way that I'd never been able to find my low abs like that day. And what was killing me at first with sprinting was like, why am I sore in my low abs every single day while doing 2 sprint sessions a week? And yet I was sore continuously. Like we're gonna go back more into that one now that that winter is over. But to me, it was I was like, why are my low abs always sore? It's because I was engaging them properly for the first time ever.
And that's the thing with running and with sprinting. You cannot do this with one part of your body. It's a full body thing.
Yeah, all internal torque.
Yeah, and what I noticed from starting with running is that it's and that's why I think it's really important for everyone to learn some type of running, is because it overlaps a lot, because you learn how to move yourself.
Always. It's like gymnastics, but from the lower body.
Yeah, and now I'm doing gymnastic class every week, and it's not the same at all, but it's the same idea.
It's the same, different, but same but different.
I know
but
that
same, yeah.
Because you showed me.
Exactly.
But
same, but different.
It's it's an efficiency of movement, and I know you're not there, but I mean that's why I want to bring that up more, because it's what I think is interesting for everyone. You know, everyone should be more efficient.
No, but this is why I love sprinting. Is suddenly I was like, oh, that's how everybody feels when I explain something. I'm like, you know that.
You like that experience a lot, right? And
the white belt stuff is the best feeling in the world. To be retarded at something and learning from someone giving me such a massive amount of knowledge, where I'm just absorbing the whole thing and making progress and feeling different things and learning a skill at a high rate. It was the same thing as kickboxing. This is so much fun. Like that sprint kickboxing moment stuff was so much fun.
But to me, and I said that before, I think, is that I liked it a lot because it made me think about how to explain things, because I did running classes a lot, and I always knew that I started to lose people really fast. So I was like,
with efficiency of movement, they have no idea. You're starting at purple belt level.
Yeah, so
like you go in conceptually where they just need position, which is great, because that's my life.
Yeah, so
that's why every time I'm like, let's not start with that. So I know how they feel when I talk. So it's great.
But we want to do a video on sprinting.
Right, so that's the key. So this podcast was to give you 3 tips to work with and see how deep the rabbit hole can go. From there, every week we'll have a drill, we'll have explanation, we'll have all of that on Mighty Networks, where we will show you, some of it will be for free, so don't worry, go on Krillin. And every week we'll take you through some of those steps and drills to teach you to sprint correctly. It is a skill everybody should possess. You won't be Usain Bolt, but you should know how to sprint. It changes the engagement on some muscles completely. This will help you for CrossFit, for strongman, for powerlifting, more than you know. Trust me on this.
And I know a lot of, for example, shot put athletes or powerlifters that came to sprint in the winter, because it's an explosion thing. And
once a week at least.
With the videos, I want to do a mixture of a few skill things, but I also really would like to talk about strategy of running, flow of running, how to approach running when it's in a workout, for example, like CrossFit, because I'm doing these classes with other people, and there's a lot of running in there, and I just see people, like as soon as there's anything running, like literally 90% of the class will just grind through the running and then do some exercises, grind through the running. And you can just tell it's just the approach to it. So I think that's very interesting too, because
it turns out running, there's a way to do it.
And there's a relaxation that you need to have to be able to run. You can't run tense. It's just it's not going to work.
We'll go through all that. Anyway, we wanted those 3 tips. Exactly. And so what we're going to do is have full modules on sprinting and on the groups, on Krillin, on the StrongFit community, also on Genius Corner mentoring program. We will have in-depth every week drills and video explanation of how to sprint. I think that's going to be pretty awesome. You have no idea how much a year from now you will have benefited from that. I've been there. You'll be very surprised.
I really hope so. And if there's anything, send me a message.
We'll get there. We'll explain all this.
Yeah.
Right now we get the tips. Play with it, and then let's start the work. Bye, everybody.